Hello, it is Sunday, September 21st, 2025. I promised earlier I was going to go in depth into the murder of Brett James in a plane crash. He was a popular songwriter out of Nashville. He wrote songs for everybody, including Kelly Clarkson. He wrote Mr. Know-It-All, so there's the Kelly Clarkson connection. And he wrote, like Jesus Take the Wheel. He wrote for a lot of people, but what he didn't do was he didn't write any tobacco songs. He was a very religious guy. There's a lot of people like him in Nashville who refuse to do tobacco songs, so now they are becoming the target of Altria. And he was murdered like Brandon. He was murdered from somebody out of Starstruck Entertainment who's trying to cover up parts of this lawsuit I'm filing and the evidence I'm going to try to expose from it. And I think this is it, guys. This is going to be the last one. I'm really tired of this. So we're just going to blow it all up today. A little bit later, we're done. We're done. Starstruck killing people. Okay? So this started out, this was my lawsuit I filed. I filed it on Brandon was murdered the day before it was filed. I said I was going to file it. They knew I was going to file it, so they murdered him the day before it was filed on August 8th, 2025. And I had to file it by midnight that day to preserve a statute of limitations on the malicious prosecution half of the lawsuit. Everything else is fine. That's the case number. It's out of the United States. It's in federal court, and it's diversity jurisdiction for the first three causes of action, and then it's going to be federal question for the last one. RICO's federal question, just for lawyers out there. So it's defamation for sure, conspiracy, malicious prosecution. That one's going to be extremely easy to prove. I was in jail for 6.5 months on nothing, on a fake restraining order, and wrongful termination is easy to prove. And now I'm going to be connecting all that up. And what's going to happen is there's going to be some people who murdered Brandon, and I'm trying to expose them, but their plan is for this lawsuit is to blame everything on Brandon and then throw it out of federal court and throw it into probate court in California or in, I don't know where his family is filing stuff, but state probate court is more corrupt than family law. Family court and probate court are equally corrupt, but I think family court is more. It doesn't matter. They're just trying to throw this whole case to the probate court and say this has to sue Brandon's estate because he did it all. No, it's not going to happen, guys. It ain't happening. So stop murdering people. Okay. It's a touchdown. I don't know why I'm getting these notices down here. Go away. So anyway, this triggered like intent. So a lot of this stuff was triggered when I announced that in addition to TMZ and Altria, I was going to start suing the main people I'm going to start suing now behind everything. Altria, Pfizer, not as much. I mean, they are behind it, but I'm more interested in Altria, well, and Pfizer, but Wasser, family court people, and Friedman, Starstruck's attorney. But so I'm going up high. I'm not just going after Starstruck. I'm not even mentioning Brandon here, so it's not going to happen. There's some stuff that happened that's interesting. We're going to go over it later. But this was the one that sort of triggered a lot of stuff. I said, look, you guys, I said, if you have an attorney, if you don't trust an attorney, you're not sure they're good or not, give them this 11-page filing I just did, the motion to vacate automatic referral, plus all the exhibits that came with it, and then have that attorney come back to you and explain what it's all about. And if they're still hating on Trump, or they don't see what's going on, or they can't convince you to stop hating Trump, fire them. They are screwing you over. They're Nazis and they're gays. They're gay Nazis and screwing you over. And I believe this guy, Brett James, possibly did that, and then he was murdered for it because he's starting to expose some crap going on in Nashville involving Altria, involving Starstruck, all right? And So he's a pilot. He piloted the plane. It left from Nashville. He, his second wife, and his stepdaughter were on the plane. They were all killed. So we're looking for, because they can't seem to be able to get Kelly into probate court. They're not going to get me in probate court. So they're going to go after this guy's 20 million in probate court because from a previous wife, a previous marriage, he had 3 sons and a daughter. So we're looking for, out of the 3 sons, I'm thinking at least one of them, the youngest of the 3 sons, as these things go, is closeted gay or gay, and he is working with some gay Nazis over at Starstruck and the Tobacco Swamp to shut this guy up. And the defense contractor Swamp screwed up his instruments when he was coming in for a landing up in North Carolina, the Macon County Airport or something. We're going to go over all that later, but I believe this was a murder, and we're going to expose it all. And I'm telling you, Reba, we're done with this shit. They're part of the reason behind this was they're trying to send a message to Reba. They're trying to threaten. They're going to say, look, we can kill your son anytime we want. He just learned to fly, and this is a threat to Reba, who knows a lot of shit, and they're trying to extort her. Reba needs help. Kelly needs some help right now, and gird your loins, ladies, because I'm blowing the whole shit up. I'm blowing it up as much as possible right now, because the number one priority in this lawsuit isn't getting money. It isn't doing shit. It's boo security. All right? I will end this lawsuit tonight if I knew it would increase security for Kelly. If I knew that it would, if I knew it was causing a decrease in her security or increasing a risk of a threat to her or to Reba, okay, or to her kids or to the band. But I think it's the opposite. So I'm just gonna blow it all up, guys. Gird your loins, because there's a lot of secrets coming out, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it. No more extortion against these guys. That's it. We're done. Okay, we're done with the killings. We're done with everything. I'm going to do the video tonight, and in the meantime, how celebs can best protect themselves. It's mostly, it's a video I posted a long time ago, but I posted it again on August 1st. It's 20 minutes long. This should be done tonight, guys, but in the meantime, go over the video about inside. And another reason, in the video I said don't trust any security people who say the threat is from the outside, and this is exactly what happened. Let's show you what went on here, which is what we're gonna. This is a good segue for what happened today, or what happened recently with this girl. Okay, this is a propaganda video. It's a threat. All these threats from the outside. Oh, we have to put security guards to protect us from the outside. In the meantime, there's going to be inside people doing these shootings to pretend like it's an outside threat. But for now, let's just go through what I did in an earlier video. So, let's do this. I try to, there's 4 different swamps, 5 different swamps, and I always attribute them to certain activities in the stock market. Like the Altria Group, the makers of Marlboro, I look at their swamp stuff. And also, okay, cat, what are we doing? Okay, this is going to be too long. We're going to have to, oh, now the cat is just going to, okay. Sorry, guys. We're just going to skip over this. Just know that I don't want to go over this again. I believe that there's a lot of money going into Altria, and Altria is, out of all the swamps, Altria, the Marlboro and Tobacco Swamp, are definitely the pros at the mass shootings. And there's been a couple of, and all the swamps are imploding, including the religious swamp is fractioning, and a couple of, and Altria raised their price. Altria is the best for the afterward narrative. If you can't control the after shooting narrative, it's just useless, because that's the most important part of the shootings. And Altria Group they're out of money, so they raised their price for Pfizer and the pharmaceutical swamp. They raised their price for the religion swamp. They raised their price for everybody, and they just said, forget it, we're just going to do a shooting on our own. So they've been failing. They tried a shooting in New York. It was a mess. You guys remember the narrative afterwards? It was a white guy at first, and they couldn't get the shooter straight. They couldn't get anything straight. They didn't kill a lot of people, and they did manage to kill probably 2 young women. Remember when I just did a video on crossing Delancey, and there were a lot of progressive young Jewish women who didn't want to have the babies circumcised, like they don't like that. There were two young Jewish women shot in the New York shooting, and I said look into that to see if they were progressive young Jewish women who didn't want their babies, didn't believe in circumcising kids, and were going out against that because that could be why they were shot and killed in that shooting. So that's all the religion swamp got out of it. They weren't able to get much else. Like they couldn't figure out who the shooter was, and it turned out to be, they wanted it to be a Muslim, and it turned out to be a brown person who wasn't Muslim. At first was a white person, and then it was a brown person, and then there's some medical there. The pharmaceutical swamp got something in there, but they did not pay enough money up front to the tobacco swamp to have the narrative very clean and the shooting done properly. Okay, they're finding out it's really hard to kill a lot of people too, just offhand. That you need sharpshooters, and they didn't run it. They also failed again a second time with Charlie Kirk's shooting. That was supposed to be a mass shooting that involved a lot of students. What happened there was they tried to do it. Charlie Kirk, religion swamp. He tried to fake his own death. That's what I believe what happened. Charlie Kirk was going to fake his own death. He's gay. He was going to run off somewhere and transition. Trump and the same people who thwarted the Trump shooting in Butler, where they, instead of thwarting the shooting and stopping it, they figured out who was behind it, ran a fake shooting, and then killed the person who was responsible for running it, Campagnore. And in this case, I was thinking before, it was very complicated. But I said, oh, no, I think he did this and I was thinking wrong, okay? Because recently, I know Trump was in charge of this and he put up a fake shooting, but I thought that he let Charlie Kirk live like he's a friend of his, but he's not. He found out Charlie Kirk was going to was planning a mass shooting in, the mass shooting was supposed to kill a lot of students and him, okay, in a fake death. He faked his own death, and they had a guy set up at the hospital. Oh no, he didn't fake his own death. He didn't fake his own death. He faked his shooting. Like he was supposed to be shot, and then he was supposed to survive, and then there was a doctor at the hospital who was going to say, oh, that was a miracle that there was no exit wound. It was a miracle. His God, he had bones of steel. And then Charlie Kirk was supposed to have this big survival, and oh, I was shot, but it wasn't a fake death. But in the process of doing this, Trump got a hold of the shooting, faked it was a single shooter, and got rid of the actual mass shooter, so nobody actually died. And in the process of Charlie Kirk faking the blood shooting out and faking this and going to the doctor, Trump killed him, like really killed him. So that's what happened on that one. That explains a lot, because I couldn't explain a lot, but that's exactly what happened there, guys. Charlie Kirk was trying to fake a shooting where he didn't die, and he's gay, and Trump just killed him. So then Trump got surprised by the aftermath, so it was a good thing he killed him, because the religion swamp is shooting their last wad right now. They don't have much money, but boy, they're really online. They're trying to pretend like they have power to shut down people. They don't have any power to shut down anybody. They're out of it. They're done, guys. Charlie Kirk's going to be a blip. Nobody's going to remember him in another month, and they know it, so they're desperate right now. They're trying to do a lot of stuff with the religion swamp. Okay, so that's what happened there. Let's do Charlie Kirk. But in the meantime, you could see they also failed. It didn't involve the tobacco swamp at all. That was religion swamp, which is typically a conservative swamp, lining up with a democratic swamp, which is the pharmaceutical swamp. And the narrative afterwards was going to be, number one, it's not transgender people shooting everybody, was going to be the narrative. That one guy set up beforehand was trying to argue that, and also, yeah, it wasn't going to be transgender and it was going to be a Jewish guy, actually. I think the original first white guy, it was going to be him, and it was going to be against the Jews for the religion, because the Christians and the Jews are separating right now in the religion swamp. So the shooter was supposed to be a Jewish white guy, and it was supposed to be, and he was a big pro 9/11 guy. He was trying to say, it's not the Jews who did it. It's not the Jews who did 9/11. Remember, the guy was arrested. He was doing 9/11 stuff. Okay, that was supposed to be the shooter, and that narrative was canceled. And and remember, transgender people are sponsored by the pharmaceutical swamp. They want more money for mental health. They want more money for transitioning, and it was supposed to be that guy and not a transgender person. And it turned out Trump took over and they turned it into a transgender. I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing. I mean, I'm laughing because nobody died except Charlie Kirk, and live by religion swamp, die by religion swamp, apparently. But and then so Altria. Anyway, all this time, there's no way the tobacco swamp was involved, because they know how to do mass shootings. They haven't had enough money. They're saving up. They're still saving up for a huge mass shooting. Okay, and same with the defense contractor swamp. They're getting all this money from the war in Ukraine bill that went through in March of 2024. Remember, that's where it's coming from. And also a whole bunch of stuff went through Congress for global warming. That's where all this money is coming from, to bolster both Altria and Tesla stocks, especially here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where they're getting that money in August, but both of them are getting a whole bunch of money in August, right here, July, August. And Elon Musk even tried to cover it up. He knows this is going on, because he says, "Oh, I'm buying $1 billion of my stock right now." No, this isn't just him doing that. He's trying to cover up the fact that he's getting this really slimy swamp input from global warming and Ukraine money, because he was going to support all that Ukraine girl got killed and all this baloney. And I'm back to it being the same fake neck injury. She had a fake neck injury that sprouted too much blood, and so did Charlie. They sprouted too much blood for him to survive. Like, it was a fake. He faked it. He faked his own, "Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." And then he survived too long. He was supposed to survive that, and they just made a mistake, because nobody could survive that. They made a mistake with the spouting. Maybe he was shot, but either way, that's what happened. He's really dead. He's not alive, and Trump did it. So what's going on with this is I thought about this a long time ago, and I said, okay, tobacco swamp, let's go into the sports then. Okay, so tobacco swamp is suffering because they're suffering in many ways, but they also run most gambling sites and game rigging for the NFL and for the WNBA, and that's imploding right now. And there are 4 main ways that the games are rigged, both in the WNBA and the NFL. It's going to be refs, and that's being exposed all over the place. The referees doing bad calls all along. It's going to be players taking a dive. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, 2 gay guys, doing this a long time. This is where, when I said everybody coming out of Nashville was either religion or tobacco, and you said, but Taylor Swift doesn't have any tobacco songs. I say, yeah, good for her. But at her concerts, there's a lot of tobacco people, because there's a lot of young girls there. They throw a free cigarette. They throw out 3 free cigarette samples, and lately it's been mostly Swisher Sweets, which are cigarillos. And the reason they do that is because it's known that they could use that. That's a very popular wrapping to use for blunts. So if they're losing the cigarette battle, they can't get these kids and girls to smoke cigarettes. They're going to at least try to get them to wrap their marijuana in this leaf for a blunt, which still has nicotine in it, and it's still addictive, and it could maybe get them over to smoking cigarettes. So Swisher Sweets. You go to any Taylor Swift concert, there's going to be free samples all over the ground, Swisher Sweets everywhere you go. They're just throwing it so that kids find it, and they get started that way. That's how Taylor Swift is a part of the tobacco swamp. And she can claim, I knew nothing about it. It doesn't matter, because the way the court system is now, it doesn't matter. We don't have a court system, guys. Don't panic, but they could take, like, what is that, against Trump? They just made up all sorts of shit, and all of a sudden it's, he owes $5 billion and whatever, especially in state court. Okay, they can go to state court and they can say, yes, Taylor knew all about this, she's behind this, and then they slam her for illegal advertising of cigarettes to kids. Now, there's the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act of 2009, which is a federal, that's a federal law, but there's a lot of state laws that follow that. And Trump came in and he said, okay, Taylor, they're coming after you. They could take your $1 billion easily in suing you against, and that's the whole point. They never enforce this. I've been pointing it out forever. Everybody breaking this rule and this law, and they just never enforce it because they're waiting for everything to implode, and now they're going to enforce this. And I'm not going to have any, once again, the bad guys get all the money. It's not going to be real victims who get the money. It's going to be 2 or 3 gay people, with whatever, because it's all these lawyers from the swamp. That's why the swamp lawyer thing is really hitting hard right now. Check your lawyer against my lawsuit, because that's where most of the swamp activity happens. Is going to be a swampy lawyer. That's where their most power is, and the swampy lawyers in Congress. And the 40 closeted gay lawyer senators. 40 out of 100 senators are closeted gay guys. Okay, this shocked me recently, but go get my list or I might post it here. Anyway, so he goes to Taylor. They're going after her money. She's barely staying alive right now, holding over she's involved in a 4D chess move right now with Trump. She's getting, that's what that whole Travis Kelce thing. Are you kidding me? But she has to hold them back by promising she's going to marry him and promising they're going to have kids. And this is making the family court people wet their pants, because that's where they can get a lot of your money, probate court or family court. So this is how she's keeping the thing going. She's keeping the carrot going. In the meantime, she's really exposing a lot of this NFL stuff that's blowing up. We're trying to keep Taylor Swift alive through this. The only way we can do this, Trump's trying to protect her. Everybody's trying to protect this girl in that way. But that's what's going on with that whole thing, guys. But she definitely, coming out of Nashville, you're not gonna be a Taylor Swift. You're not gonna make it that big when you're not peddling cigarettes or peddling religion, period. So that's her way of peddling. Like, she said no to the cigarettes. She's so good that she made it anyway. But in the meantime, they're clamping on to selling cigarettes to kids that show up at her concerts. Okay, without her knowledge, or she probably knows about it now, but she can't stop it. And now they're going to try to sue her for allowing that. And it doesn't matter what the truth is. So we have the airline index is another thing I talked about. And this is something that was run by for a long time. So in my last video, I said, oh, it was just the Biden administration. No, that's been going on a long time. Thing is, when you say, well, it's been going on even since the last Trump administration. It's like, oh my God, Trump was so busy taking care of the. He was really getting rid of the tobacco swamp and the pharmaceutical swamp, and the pharmaceutical swamp came and got him, kind of. He let him get him. But right here, that was pharmaceutical swamp. He had no way of trying to go after the defense contractor swamp, this is where they get a lot of their money, is from the airline index scam. It's money laundering. Congress gives tons of money to the airline industry, okay, and that money goes straight to the airline stocks, and then they manipulate the airline stocks to get the money back. And this is all this money right here. That's all your taxpayer money. and it's supposed to be regulated by the FAA that this can't happen, but that's just Buttigieg is behind all this. So Trump comes in here. So here they did it again, swamp right after the fake pandemic Holocaust, and right here Trump is thwarting that, and it's really driving Buttigieg and those guys crazy at the FAA. He's cutting back on FAA. So they came in as soon as Trump came in the office, and so the defense contractor swamp does plane crashes. They do they manipulate weather and plane crashes. So right away they came in January. They did the LA fires. That's the weather. They did the plane crash in DC, but the good news is it wasn't a big plane. They still can't do a big plane. It was a commuter plane with a helicopter, not a commuter, but a smaller plane. So I still believe they don't have enough money to do a big plane the way they did on 9/11. And since then, so I said, okay, it's going to be a commuter plane coming up, and it's going to be. I was talking about the four different ways that the. I was talking about the four. Okay, I got sidetracked on Taylor Swift with the four different ways that the sports games are rigged. When I got into the players, because that's Kelsey and Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, that's being exposed right now. They're going to win today, by the way, for sure, against the New York Giants playing in New Jersey. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. It's rigged that way. They had Mahomes injured all week, so that they hoped everybody would bet on the Giants winning. But they're going to have the Chiefs are finally going to win today. It's going to be rigged because they have control over anybody playing in New Jersey, the tobacco swamp capital of the world. The Giants are going to be controlled by the tobacco swamp game riggers. So that game is completely rigged. Or I should say it's going to come out today according to whatever is going to make the most gambling money. I say it's probably the Chiefs, but it's done by the minute. Whatever makes them the most money, even play-by-play, whatever's going to make the house in Las Vegas the most money. That's imploding a lot now. So we have rigged refs, rigged players who are taking dives or controlling the game. The third thing is rigged, like the coaches are giving, like on the WNBA, on this Indiana Fever, that would be Austin Kelly. So that's the third way of rigging, is he's giving the other team, or getting from the other team one way or the other, plays that are going to be called or not called. And he did this during the game. It's fine. I'm glad the Indiana Fever is there, but the fourth way that the games are rigged, at least in the WNBA, is screwing up the equipment in play. Like, in football, I guess it would be, I don't know, like the ball thing, remember all that? But it's also in the WNBA, and possibly, of course, the NBA as well, is this three-point shot thing, where they have a way of screwing with the three-point shot. I think it's easier for them to make sure a shot that's going in doesn't go in. I think that's easier to do than the other one where it's close but they make it go in. It's something that has to do with the basketball coming near the rim. They could do something to the basketball to make it either go in or go out. I think that's what's going on. And that's why the Indiana Fever, very wisely, because this can mess with your brain. It could screw with a player and ruin their career for the rest of their life, like Caitlin Clark. So they just benched her ass. Her fine ass. Let's do a Lizzo thing. I'm gonna bench your fine ass. So they benched her. They benched all their 3-point shooters with an injury. They just don't want to screw with them. And you say, well, Kelsey Mitchell is still playing. Well, Kelsey Mitchell has a shot that is really non-riggable. It's super high arc. Okay, they can't rig that girl's shot, so they're letting her play. She's fine. She's doing great. And then you say, well, they're letting Lexi play. Well, in my view, they're thinking Lexi has kind of a high arc too, but on the other hand, they're thinking we can sacrifice her. Like if it messes up her 3-point shooting, she is a really good defensive player, and we need that. Like next year, I hope they keep Ari, and I hope they keep Lexi. I'm not going to go through this. I'm just saying Indiana Fever is onto this. they're hoping that the 3-point rigging BS is going to be done by next year so that all their 3-point shooters, Chloe Bibby, excellent. I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to keep. The Indiana Fever right now can split their team in half right now and have two teams that could be championship teams. That's how good all these players are. So I don't know what they're going to do for the roster next year. You're definitely going to get rid of Sydney Colson because she was one of the game riggers. But we'll go through this later. I'm just saying the fourth way that they're rigging is the shot in basketball, at least, is like being rigged. And they possibly did this with in the NBA as well. I mean, I'm sure they did. You've got this, the greatest shooter of all. He probably is, but so it's messing up a lot of the teams, and it's just a free for all right now, according to the highest rigging going on. So that's what's going on. So I said, okay, it's Asia. I said Aja in the last video. Asia Wilson has turned. I think she sees all this. They have two players on the Aces who don't rig themselves, but they can see it. They can see the rigging. They can see the refs favoring them. They know this. She's really a good player. At the same time, it's just rigged. But the most rigging happens with the two teams over there on the other side. The Minnesota Lynx rigging like crazy, and the Phoenix Mercury rigging like crazy. Those two teams have so much rigging going on, and they're over there. The Indiana Fever has the least amount of rigging, and I would say Las Vegas Aces, as far as the players, they're truly good players, and they can't control the refs rigging in their favor. But so I said, Asia Wilson is turning. She's onto this crap, and they're going to try to kill her in a smaller plane crash. I said, what? The defense contractor swamp, they can't do big planes anymore. They could just do the smaller commuter planes. Well, what's going on between the tobacco swamp and the defense contractor swamp where they can get together and do a plane crash? That would be a WNBA team from Las Vegas, the tobacco swamp capital of the world, where Asia and this other person are not participating in the actual throwing of games on their own. They're going to try to kill her in a plane crash, and the Las Vegas Aces, and they did like it just, and they couldn't do it. They're not able to do that. Instead, they got this guy in a single plane crash. They're not even able to do a medium-sized plane anymore, is what I'm saying. I don't believe they can't do the big planes anymore. They tried a medium-sized plane, and now Trump is thwarting even the smaller commuter planes. So now they're saying, okay, we're done. Defense contractor swamp and tobacco swamp are going to have to do a combined mass shooting, okay? And that is what is going on today. And it's going to be a mass shooting at a sporting event or at an airport terminal. All right, that's how I came up with this, because they can't do anything else. And this is where this girl comes in. So now, before we do this, I'm going to play her whole video right now. But before we do that, I went through earlier really quickly. I said this guy's involved. It's going to be at Logan Airport. I just went really quickly and did all this. It's going to be the person at. But what I didn't do, because it was Tobacco Swamp, is oh crud. Sorry, I should have gone through this before, guys. Oh, this guy's gay. Sorry. Oh, God. Sorry, you guys. Okay. Sorry about this. I should have gone through here. I didn't know it was going to be doing this, the roly-poly stuff. I'm not stopping this video, guys. I might cut this out. Anyway, in the past, when I'm looking for threats at NBC, I would go to Ashley Reynolds because she's close to the Kelly Clarkson show, and this is This has to do with booth security. I'm going to go over this and fine tooth baby girl. I'm just like, we are so done with the bullshit of them having a lot of gay Nazis security threats for you still working there. We're done. Oh, by the way, she talks a lot about Kimmel. So there's some good things and bad things here. Here's, oh, they just did this. What did she just do? Oh, here she is. She just reposted this stuff. Brandon Coleman. Okay, so she's doing, so this is an account that's run by a gay Nazi tobacco swamp asshole. And it's all NFL, like it's 90% lately. And the good news is this time, when there was the Charlie Kirk shooting, she just reposted news of it once, and that's it. Now, of course, let me talk about Jimmy Kimmel a little bit. What the hell happened there? Well, he was starting to talk about Charlie Kirk, and everybody says, he said it was a MAGA shooter, and everybody said he was fired for saying that. No, I'm pretty sure, I mean, Trump controls all this, and this guy is out no matter what, but I think it was him showing Trump. He showed a video, and they said, hey, what do you think about Charlie Kirk's death? And Trump goes, oh, that was very tragic. But did you see? And he just glossed right over it. It was hilarious. Like, he just glossed right over it and went, hey, did you see the new construction on our patio? And he showed that, and everybody laughed, and I laughed too, because it showed that he didn't care about Charlie Kirk and probably was behind the murder. And that was not going to fly, because, Trump had to backtrack on that and try to get all this. He needs to hijack this Charlie Kirk movement, which he did, because that's what the big speech is today. He didn't go to Charlie Kirk's funeral, his memorial, and he was starting to get criticized for not caring about Charlie Kirk. He was shocked at how much the religion swamp was out there, ready to pretend like this guy was a god. Trump got blindsided by that. So now he's got to have to go and see if he can, this is a dying movement, but he's going to go and see if he could try to, hijack some of those people in the religion swamp. He doesn't have to, but he'll go out today and talk to the Charlie Kirk people and pretend like he really supported him. But he didn't really appreciate Jimmy Kimmel pointing out the fact that he was being nonchalant about Charlie Kirk. So they canned him, and he's not coming back. I'm sorry, this guy is such a fucking asshole. They're trying to say, anyway, he's done because there's no money. Here's another interesting thing. Oh, what I wanted to show was right away, there's a couple things. Like, it was very interesting. This was the only thing, like, just a few minutes ago, was the only thing posted. It was posted 4 hours ago. So, she hasn't posted a thing about the WNBA or the gay guy running the Ashley Reynolds account. She's a senior producer at the Kelly Clarkson Show. It's been, like, I would say 1,000 reposts about the NFL lately, ever since it's all NFL, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden today, when I'm talking about a possible shooting going on at the Aces game in Las Vegas, where the Indiana Fever are playing today, here she is reposting this. This is the Tobacco Swamp shooter guy who was all over the last shooting, all over the place. And he's reposting this about Asia being the... okay, and then there was another thing today I noticed. Watch this. This guy. We're going to play the whole thing. Ready?
If you live in Florida and...
So let's go over fouls first. Asia Wilson does a moving screen, and they call the foul on the Seattle Storm.
Okay, this is too good to miss up. We're going to do it the full screen, okay? We're going to do this whole thing. Ready? Here we go.
So let's go over fouls first. Asia Wilson does a moving screen, and they call the foul on the Seattle Storm. This is ridiculous. How is that a foul on the Seattle Storm? Look at this one. She tries to tackle her or something. They called that a foul on the Seattle Storm. You can't make this up. There's another touch foul. They lied to us. The WNBA is not physical. Look at this. They called that a foul on the Seattle Storm. Another one, they can't even walk on the court when Asia Wilson's around. There's another foul. Nobody touched her. Another foul for Asia Wilson. Look at Asia Wilson. She made the contact, but she gets the foul. Another foul. Another foul. Like, this is ridiculous. You guys see it. There's a foul. Asia Wilson, just take your trip to the line. This is worse. They call every single time. But let's go over fouls first.
Okay,
Asia
so
Wilson.
this was so obvious. The refs making sure the Aces go to the playoffs and that there's a playoff game today while Trump is speaking with the Indiana Fever and Las Vegas Aces in Las Vegas. This was the most critical thing that could happen. And this is pointing more toward the more violence I'm talking about. Or it could be just because they had named Asia Wilson the MVP and it was important that they win this. But it's just so obvious right now, you guys. So this is whoever's doing this, whoever's doing the ref thing, they're behind a possible shooting going on right now in another hour. So I got to post this, but I'm just saying, or possibly, no, he's only going on to speak in a couple of hours. This might be starting around now. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I want to get rid of some of this stuff, but the other good thing I wanted to show, other than that one, there's another one down here. So this guy's, it was really interesting. Josh Shapiro. So this is a good news too. There's like a lot of fraction going on. Josh Shapiro is a gay Nazi Democratic governor in Pennsylvania, and he's saying crap against Kamala Harris. And now Ashley Reynolds, the tobacco swamp people, not Ashley Reynolds, the gay tobacco swamp running the account, is coming out against Josh Shapiro. So Josh Shapiro, religion swamp, Democratic religion swamp people, and the tobacco swamp is fighting with them. This is fighting on a lot of different levels. That includes at the shooting in New York, the Charlie Kirk, tobacco swamp, and religion swamp are fighting, but not all the religion swamp. That's fighting the Jewish part of the religion swamp, which is fighting with the Christian half. The Christian half of the religion swamp is working with the tobacco swamp, and that would be Cheez-It and the NFL working with this guy. But I just did this. Okay. So crud. Okay, Buttigieg, this guy. So remember I said this is going to be a shooting that is defense contractor swamp and tobacco swamp. And then here I am mentioning the religion swamp working with, but it's the Christian half. The serial people are the Christian half of the tobacco swamp. The war in Hamas, I'm sorry. The Christian part of the religion swamp is the breakfast cereals. It's going to be Kellogg's. It's going to be the Cheez-Its. It's going to be PepsiCo, Mountain Dew, Espresso with Carpenter, whatever that name is. Was it Sabrina Carpenter or was it somebody else? No, Sabrina Carpenter, Espresso. That's Mountain Dew. That is the Christian part of the religion swamp. The Jewish part of the religion swamp gets a lot of their money, most of it, from the war in the Middle East. Okay, and those two are fighting right now over a shrinking pie of money. And they both don't like the Muslims. So for various reasons. So depending on the shooter, but that's what's going on. So all the swamps are kind of fighting right now. But this is why I mentioned this. When I said it's just the shooting is going to involve just the defense contractor swamp and the tobacco swamp, I threw in a bit of the religion swamp here because they will be behind it, but it will be the Christian half, which is the Cheez-Its. Okay, that's why they're all over the Indiana Fever, Cheez-Its this, Cheez-Its that's very religion. You have White, the coach, wearing a cross, and they're all very religious over there. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying they could be naive and they just need to watch out for this stuff going on. Okay, I gotta get rid of this, guys. I just need to clear this stuff. So I also said whoever's taking down my comments at YouTube over 9/11, which is Defense Contractor Swamp, there's somebody getting money over there at YouTube. And also I was coming out against exposing Travis Kelce. But then here's this guy. Yeah, I already talked about him. There was okay. Security. Let's just get rid of that one. And another one. We'll get rid of that one. Ashley Reynolds. One last thing. Oh, here's the very last thing. We'll go. Ashley Reynolds. This is a very good sign. The gay guy running her account is now saying, your periodic reminder that up to 64% of X accounts are bots, and the algorithm is controlled by a Trump ally with a far-right agenda. The Trump ally, Elon Musk, really? That gay guy? He recently was an ally, but he came out against Trump and started crapping all over him. Okay, that's what Charlie Kirk just did. So he's defense contractor swamp. So yeah, he's right. I'm glad that whoever, look at this. It's a lifelong. I didn't know what to make of Charlie Kirk. Look at all this of Charlie Kirk. It's all the same, and they're just showing that it's all bots. And this one is supporting the Christian half of the religion swamp. This is the Christian half of the religion swamp, and they're trying to do a mass shooting right now, I think. But Trump killed him because he did what Elon did. He doesn't trust him. You can't trust the gay guys. You can't trust them. They'll always go after getting increasing their chances of getting a non-gay man to put a penis up their anus. They will always go for that more than anything else. And he probably trusted him to betray him. That's what you can do. It's probably what he did. He's very good at this, at 4D chess moves. He's very good at predicting who and when and how somebody's going to betray him. And that's part of the 4D chess move, is he allows for that. And this is what happened here. He had a feeling, and he's gone. So that was a nice post. Actually, that's a good sign. I haven't seen what was going on. Songs and stories. Oh, well, the thing about the Alanis Morissette, 9:25. Oh, they're going to replay everything? Oh, good. And they're going to redo Alanis, which is Tobacco Swamp. But the good thing was, Kelly can stand up to that. She stood up to that and didn't allow the word cigarette to be played. But they still sang ironic, I think, but good for her. Okay, we're going to go over this a little bit later with the Tobacco Swamp stuff. And then Lizzo. So this is more Tobacco Swamp stuff. Thinking slippery slope, good job. So this is just recent stuff going on. Just 2 minutes ago. Good job, Mariota. I don't know what that is, but they're really active right now. This was the last thing, just very recently, until like an hour ago, this was the first thing to come up was Asia. So I probably already thwarted that because now they're burying that. That's not going to happen. That's good news, guys. It's not going to happen over there in Las Vegas because I've already buried that. The Tobacco Swamp piece of shit over at the Tobacco Swamp running the Ashley Reynolds account has already kind of buried this tweet on Asia. It was supposed to be the #1 tweet. Like, as soon as the shooting happened, you were supposed to go over there and you're going to see them talking about Asia here on this account. But the shooting is done. They're not going to do a WNBA. Bye. That was good news. And it's good news that they're starting to turn on each other and there's other shit. But I'm going to take care of this, though. That NBC person. Okay, so bye. That was good news right in front of us. The NBC person booking this guy, he was booked in June originally, and then they replayed him just last week. Buttigieg, they're supporting, that was a defense contractor swamp. Find out who booked this guy at NBC, okay? Because they are a part of a shooting plan that just got thwarted, at least. Also, the person who booked Kelly to go to Uvalde. Remember that? They're behind that. Find the person who booked Kelly to sing Gunpowder and Lead. And I don't have it. Find the person who made that video promoting Gunpowder and Lead with Kelly. And now we're still going to the Massport terminal. It's still on, you guys. Watch out for that. In Logan Airport. I think we're done. Oh, before I go, I want to show you the push. I'm going to record the Boston College. We're done. That's where I'm getting. But before I go, the big thing is this girl. All right. So this guy is the religion. He's the Jewish part of the religion swamp. And the Tobacco Swamp is so good at what they do in the afterward narrative that they got him to promote their propaganda. So watch this propaganda. I'm going to play the whole video, you guys. So a couple of things. Number one, it's an outside threat. Number two, what Ashley Reynolds said, that they control X. This came up on my For You feed at X, and I think it also showed up on my YouTube. But we're going to play the whole thing right here. Okay, watch.
Sutra is down for this because the only thing I hate more than repeating myself is
Now we're going to do a little better than that. Let's do the...
about everything that happened with Charlie Kirk. And you probably see
We're going to do better than this. I can't hear her hardly. Let's just do this. All right, let's go, babies. Let's go. Ready?
Sutra is down for this because the only thing I hate more than repeating myself is people not coming with receipts. You have access to the internet right now. You already know about everything that happened with Charlie Kirk, and you've probably seen the same repetitive comments over and over and over from people, quotes that he would say during his debates. Now, I'm somebody that has seen only a few of his videos over the last however many years that he's been doing this, so seeing these quotes, I was like, wow, did he actually say that? That's kind of shocking. But the thing about me is I am so indecisive that I will research the piss out of something before picking a side. So what did I do? I did exactly that. I found these quotes and I said, let me go watch the entire source that those are pulled from to know the context of them. Because also, if you have any access to the internet, you know how easily it is to be taken out of context. Hell, even the Bible is cherry-picked and taken out of context for certain things. If you're one of those people that likes to just run with the headliner, take exactly what somebody says, copy-paste it from the comment section onto a whole nother video, I'm here to help you out so you don't look stupid in the comment section. First one up is the Second Amendment quote that I'm sure you've seen under every single Charlie Kirk post that has been put out on the internet to date. People are justifying his murder because he said some gun deaths every single year are worth the cost. Yeah, I have to admit, that does sound like a pretty shocking quote initially, but that's the headliner, obviously. People want to rage bait you. Stop getting pulled into it like an idiot. You read the headliner and immediately get rage baited, you're a sheep. If you decided to scroll down and read the entire story of that quote that it's pulled from, you will see a whole lot more to it. And on top of that, to just make sure I have the full picture, not just the little snippet that the news article chose to show, I went and watched the entire 2-hour-long video where that quote is from. He starts it out by talking about how the Second Amendment is not strictly about self-defense, hunting, or having our fun gun. It is to protect ourselves from our government turning tyrannical. That if you believe that this country is incapable of that happening, you are living in a utopian fantasy. Him saying that it's a price to pay is not about children dying. There are 50,000 car-related deaths every single year. That's the price for having cars. You want to get rid of cars and save 50,000 lives each year? Great. There's a cost to that though. Change for those 50,000 lives saved, you now don't have mobility to get anywhere. You don't have the access to products and services that you might want on the day-to-day basis. DoorDash, forget it. You want to go to a restaurant that's 20 minutes away in a car? See you in a few days. Okay, maybe it's not but a few days. Therefore, we have decided that those 50,000 lives are a necessary cost to having those things. And not only does he provide that comparison and explanation, he provides a solution for this. He says that there can be a realistic reduction to gun violence. Any shootings at Major League sporting events, there was one in 1984 before there was armed security at the events. There was also one in late 2023. Guess what? That was from the outside of the stadium. How have any shootings been stopped at airports? There was one in December of 2024 outside of the security checkpoint. There was also one in 2017 where there was a very clear and unfortunate lapse in security for that event. That's what led to there being a mass shooting at that airport. Aside from that one instance, unless I'm missing some, I'm not perfect. I've only seen other instances from outside of the airport or outside of security. The way that he ends that quote is saying, if our money, sporting events, and airports can have armed guards, why don't our children? By not having armed guards to protect our children from any potential risk, that is when you are choosing to sacrifice them for our right to protect ourselves against a tyrannical government, not by refusing to give up our guns. And just to be clear, I'm always open for discussion of different opinions. What I won't be doing is arguing with the emotion and arguing with people that don't do their own research and formulate their own thoughts. So if you want to come into my comments, copy and paste in the exact same things as you are on every other post, all I will say to you is, thank you for the engagement.
All right, so
Sutra,
if you want to research this, you go back and look at those shootings that she mentions, and those people are behind the shooting today if there's going to be one, or planning that shooting. So the shooting, I don't know what she's talking about in 2023, the sporting events and the TSA, all that are done by the same group of people, and they're trying to do one today at Logan Airport, I believe now. It's not, I don't think the WNBA, I just saw the Ashley Reynolds account bury the Asia Wilson thing, which was supposed to be front and center today at 1 o'clock, and they just all of a sudden buried it all. like it's behind a bunch of stuff. So the killing at the WNBA game has been thwarted. You're welcome, world. So you guys, well, they've already started, I think. Are they started playing already? So I hope you guys can relax. I hate doing this. By the way, I took so long because I have, like, timing is everything with these shooting things. I've been meaning to do this thing for 2 weeks now, almost. A week and a half I've been meaning to say there's going to be a shooting at an airport. There's going to be a shooting at an airport. Inside the airport. Ever since this came out, actually. 14, 21, only last week. It feels like 2 weeks. But I've been putting it off because I didn't feel right and it wasn't. And then all of a sudden last night, and then I got knocked out, like I fell asleep. I'm in the middle of doing it and I just conked out, which is, I don't fret over that. There's a timing thing. All of a sudden today I said, I got to put this out in 5 minutes. And I did that. And I think that was just the right thing to do. It seems like it has thwarted some stuff. Okay, because if you thwart too early, it gives them time to do something else. And the plan today was probably to try the WNBA, and if that didn't work, they're going to try right now in Logan. Like, I think they were planning in a few airports. So you guys get on it, but by thwarting it that quickly, hopefully nothing else will happen. And that's why I reported it so late, even though I've been meaning to do this. And I wanted to say thank you to, I'm going to get rid of this too. Thank you, because my Wordle muses saw me working really diligently on evidence that I'm going to give a little bit later today. I've been working only on that, and on Friday, as I was walking to work, I saw this, and they said, do that later. And I thought, why? I wanted to do the, I'm not going to say what it is before they delete the evidence. I want to get this evidence. And I was trying to do some stuff, and I'm not going to say what it is because I want to try to do it. I still want to keep trying to get that evidence. But I think my Wordle muses can see what I'm trying to do on my Google Docs and things. And they put up this tweet that said later, this Wordle muse, this Wordle word, and it made me question it. And then I thought, okay, maybe I will do this final thing with the security threat at the airport. And then then they said defer to yesterday. And that's why I said, okay, we're dropping all this for now. I was gonna do this 100% all day yesterday. I dropped that whole thing yesterday and decided to do this thing. So thank you, my Wordle muses. I'm still paying attention to you. I left Coven today, I think, whatever that was. I'm trying to find my people, and I'm doing that. He was part of the Coven. I mean, they say it's a group of witches, but it's also a group of intellectuals, a small group of intellectuals who are trying to achieve the same thing. And he was a part of this. And unfortunately, he didn't make it out in one piece, guys. So I'm going to blow the whole thing up later. I'm keeping this. So that's it. This girl, I wanted you guys to notice the Cheez-Its, of course. I want to do that again. I've just decided that is not the religion swamp. It's not the full religion swamp. It is the Christian half of the religion swamp. Okay? So it's very specific now that I'm honing in on this. It took me a long time to sort of figure that out. Okay, so that's the Christian half of the religion swamp. And you notice she's doing what Ashley Reynolds said. They're sort of co-opting all of it's Charlie Kirk now, the religion swamp. The Christian half of the religion swamp is all over. They're running all of X right now. But X is pretty much run by the tobacco swamp. But I think Elon Musk is on top of this stuff now. I think he's like, we're going to change this around a little bit because, okay. And then the other thing she did was it's outside threats. We're going to protect everybody if we do armed guards. And it's like, yeah, my ass, a bunch of non-gay dumbass morons who don't know what's going on. That's while the gay guy, while they're letting the wrong people sneak in with the guns, or they're doing, it's all inside job doing all this. Okay, that's it. Hang in there, everybody. There's going to be a huge video, another hour long, coming out later tonight or tomorrow about this guy, about Brett James. Rest in peace, dude. And we'll do that later. go thwart any kind of shooting happening in the next hour or two over in not in Arizona but around the country to usurp his speech, because now he's going to co-op and get the religion people who are doing all this. They don't want Trump in. They can't stand him. The Charlie Kirk people doing all this religion stuff, they're coming out against Trump and they're having fits that he's going now to kind of hijack that whole movement, you know. So Jimmy Kimmel isn't coming back. Jimmy Fallon, come on, boss. You know I like him. He's the closest to Johnny Carson. I mean, Johnny Carson was you could not tell what his politics were whatsoever, and that's the best. You could tell that Jay Leno leaned a little bit to the right, but not necessarily. And you could tell Jimmy Fallon leans a little bit to the left. What am I saying? Jay Leno a little bit to the right, and Fallon a little bit to the left, but not like these guys. So yes, Seth Meyers, gay guy, got to go. Yes, that piece of shit Stephen Colbert. Yes, that piece of shit Jimmy Kimmel. I think I did a video before where I kept mixing up Jimmy Fallon with Jimmy Kimmel. I kept saying, oh, I love Jimmy Kimmel, and I meant to say Jimmy Fallon. Like, I never loved Jimmy Kimmel, okay? And I never, except when he did the Kobe Bryant eulogy, and I figured out that whole thing was, oh, we're going to go through this a little bit later with the helicopter crash. And, okay, all right, done. Everybody hang in there. Everybody hang in there. Living my best life. It's going to be okay. It really is, you guys. Just try to see if we get, I say it's going to be okay, and then this guy dies, but it's just going to happen. I mean, at least it wasn't a big plane. I'm just saying, and at least the Kirk shooting was one person died. Even if it was Charlie Kirk, you don't want that. I mean, you just wish that he wasn't the way whatever happened. Okay, if he died, one person dying is not good, but at least it wasn't a mass shooting. I think we're done with that, but now it's boo security from here on out. That's the number one thing. This whole lawsuit, boo security, guys. We're going to have to, really be careful of what's going on and the purging going on right now at all these places, the gay Nazi purgings. Okay? All right. Bye. Godspeed to everybody coming out the other side in one piece. That's PEACE and PIEC. Bye. Talk to you soon.